Hola, welcome to this edition of DURKO's Notebook for the 2025 Spanish Grand Prix. Interesting weekend with a lot to talk about, a few highlights and plenty of stuff to debate at least. So pull up a pew, sit back, relax and enjoy the show. You wouldn't fucking read about it. With F1 returning to Spain and to its probably, as I would say, traditional home, the Circuit de Barcelona Catalonia, it may be for the last time, as sadly F1 is looking to move on to yet another street circuit in Madrid, and that will be the end of things for the circuit that we've seen many changes at in terms of corners, S-bends, apexes and so forth over various times to try and create more action, more driving pleasure for the drivers. It seems to have worked. I don't think it's a bad circuit. It's tight and narrow, but I think it's always been a good race at Spain. Probably not the most exciting compared to some others, but it does deliver a race at least. Now, the talking point, there's been a lot of discussion today, obviously come through the media regarding Lance Stroll and his decision to pull out after qualifying to not participate in the race because of his injuries to his hands and wrists from the old cycling industry injury he had about 3 years ago. Now, the claim was that the pins in his hands and wrists have been playing up and he's been getting increasing pain. And obviously, some have come to his defence and said, it's want of a driver to want to deliver and do his best to try and get into the race, to go through the pain barrier. But that obviously, in him turning over the wheels for all the sessions, basically ruled out Dragovic being able to come in as a reserve driver because he was there, ready to go, but that wasn't to be. So the story has now come out through various media sources that, as a result of his Q2 outing, Lance has thrown an absolute hissy fit within the garage, smashed equipment, has pushed and shoved staff, allegedly assaulted one staff member and has also put his fist through the garage wall, which has obviously buggered his wrist more than it originally was if it was causing him some pain that meant he can't drive. So clearly Lance has wordedly and allegedly thrown all his toys out of the cot and hasn't done himself any favours. Thence he's now going to get more corrective surgery on his wrist to fix it up now that he's decided to make some amendments to the garage and the equipment that the Aston Martin racing team use. So if he has, Lance, you're a dickhead. For God's sake, what are you doing? Anyway. So get on to the race itself. It was good to see Piastri on pole again. Obviously, as an Aussie, I'm backing him for the championship this year. But the interesting one was the racing incident. Obviously, they're doing over 300 k's now down the main straight. And there was a coming together with Max and Leclerc. And that was ruled as a racing incident. Obviously, they blamed Leclerc for it more than Max. But it was written off at least as a racing incident, which I think was good. Now, the overtake of the whole race for me, and I was absolutely astonished to see it, was, of course, Hulk overtaking Hamilton. Now, that kick out was probably nothing on the Ferrari. Obviously, they're using the same engine, but in terms of engineering scope and development, they're two different beasts. And for Hulk to be able to pull that off, it's a question of Hamilton as to what car of the Scuderia delivered for you to drive around the Catalonia circuit if you're getting overtaken by the Hulk. I mean, no discredit to Hulk, he's done a lot of races, it's nothing new to him. But for him to be able to pull that move off, I think was an incredible feat. Now, the big discussion point, and everyone's got their 2 cents on it, is the second last lap. Obviously, GP's got on the blower and said to Max, you need to give the position back to George Russell, who was behind him. He's, of course, as Max would do, as any other driver would. I'm not writing Max off here just because he's Max. I'm just saying this on principle. Max has questioned why. GP's just said, just do it. Whatever, we'll talk about it later in the debrief. So Max has come into turn 4, tapped the brake pedal 3 times, given Russell some real estate to get round him. But he's obviously come into turn 5, as you're allowed to do, to fight back for the position, reclaim it because you're coming into a fresh corner. But it's apparent to me, I don't know what your thoughts are, but it's apparent to me that Max has deliberately and with the full intent of purpose driven at the side of Russell's car, causing them to come together. Fortunately, there was no damage to the cars done, but there was a coming together. An absolute deliberate collision was occurred between the two cars, for which Max copped a 10-second penalty. Now, some people say, obviously, the 10-second penalty wasn't enough. I don't think it was. Nico Rosberg, as the now commentator pundit, was there with Crofty saying it was a black flag. It should have just been, that's it, sorry, no, you can't do that shit. A lot of people have said it should have been disqualification. Some people say it was too light for the 10 seconds. Interesting to note, Helmut Marko and Christian Horner didn't want to talk to the media after the race at all. They basically just walked away from all the cameras. But I think it was worthy of a disqualification because, yes, we can go back to the days of Senna. And as somebody pinpointed to me today, they say, well, he thinks, the bloke had messaged me, he said, I think it was a fair move, he's just doing what Senna would have done. Yeah, that's fine, but Senna got a lot of shit for it too and copped a lot of criticism from the FIA for his driving style, which he took on board and may have changed his racecraft in some way, but Max has gone back to being the old Mad Max, I believe, and he's just done this stupid move. If you wanted to fight for the position back, you could have entered the race behind Russell and got a shitload more points and getting the 10-second penalty and losing a shitload of points and walking away with just 1 point. So you got to think, you're doing it for principle. If you got the shits, are you going to do it just to piss the team off? I think it was just a stupid move, Bax. Dumb move. And I think it should have been a disqualification by the FIA as the penalty, not just the 10 seconds. Because the thing is, you've got to look at it, sometimes cars are disqualified by the FIA for A, having not enough fuel for a sample, the 1 litre sample or 1 kilo sample at the end of the race. They go to suck a bit of juice out, sorry, not enough there for a sample for testing post-race, disqualified. As we saw with the Mercs, previously Hamilton's turned up to Dakota, sorry, your barge board, your timber plank under the car has been scruffed out too much. It's under thickness, you're disqualified, bang, result's gone. So if for a technical reason they can disqualify a car, why can't they disqualify a driver for an incident of predatory driving where he's deliberately, on purpose, with intent, driven into a competitor in a corner to try and claim his position back that he was told to give back at the previous corner, which he did under duress, under angst, under hostility. I just think that that's something we've got to take into consideration, that there's a technical disqualification, then there's a driver disqualification, but the FIA seem to be scared to implement that. Because they've got to set an example to the drivers, but Max has obviously got this thing in his place, he's got this mindset of, on Max, he's just got to get out of my way. Well, that doesn't work for everyone. It never will. That's my thoughts on it. So in 2 weeks' time, we're off to Canada, and I love the place. One of the best circuits on the calendar, I believe. I just love the Canadian Grand Prix. I'm looking forward to it, and we shall talk then. Hopefully it'll be a good weekend. I will be struggling time-wise to get up early to watch it, but I'll be there. And I shall report to you with another notebook after the Canadian Grand Prix. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.